Would love your thoughts on the state of the real estate market today, and what do you think it looks like 10 years from now? And I think Venn is on the forefront of the industry shift, but how do you view the industry changing 10 years from now? What does it look like?
Yeah.
Does a leasing agent still have 10 different software solutions? Is Venn still working in conjunction with PMSs?
So I'm going to say something that will sound a bit controversial.
We love controversial takes.
I think that 80% of the technology out there today, and I think those companies will die.
Super excited to have you here today. Welcome to season 1 of the Unordinaries podcast. It's frankly a podcast of mine where I interview people I'm genuinely curious and fascinated with, and I'm happy you were able to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Or is an absolute rock star, fresh off a $55 million raise last week. Big fan of you and what you're building. I'll give the high level on Venn, and I'll give it over to you to explain the company in your words. But Or is the co-founder and CEO of Venn, is a company redefining how multifamily operators deliver resident experience and build community at scale. Or could you share a little bit about Venn in your own words?
Sure. So Venn is basically the ultimate end-to-end operating system for multifamily. So we look at the entire resident journey from a month before they move in until a month after they leave. And we believe there is a way to turn buildings into brands and to consumer brands.
Yeah.
And we stated on our website that we believe that there is never better time to be a property manager. And this is a very controversial statement because property management, it's a pretty hard job.
It's a really hard job.
Very, very hard job.
You're the CEO of a community. You're managing everything from marketing to maintenance. I mean, it's...
Exactly. And we see these guys as heroes because they basically run the life of people and they call property managers. So we said, why don't we change the algorithm in a lot of ways and turn the classic property management company into a lifestyle brand? What's the difference between property manager and a lifestyle brand?
Yeah.
So a property management company basically deals with tenants, which is the old world, right? Who want to be a tenant. And
it belittles the individual.
Right. I believe that there is an opportunity right now to turn the property management companies into lifestyle brands. And lifestyle brands means consumer brands. And lifestyle brands serves consumers. And consumers is something way more exciting in my point of view because it means that the lifestyle brand is obsessed about the consumer and the lifestyle brand obsessed about making their life better and easier and more fulfilling. So when we started Venn back in 2017, it was not Venn. It was our own way to build our own living experience. And we treated people very well. We bought 30% of a neighborhood in Tel Aviv. And the idea was to create an end-to-end solution that starts from a month before they move in until a month after they leave without any dependency on nothing. So we were the asset managers, the property managers, the experience managers. We built more than 50 different small businesses in the neighborhood, and we connected the entire resident journey into one consistent operating system that was manual. And when we reverse engineered it, we said, what if we take everything that we learned in the Shapira neighborhood and turn it into a product? So to productize the idea of taking this persona called property manager or the on-site team and help them to be the heroes of the community and give them the tools to treat people better and to turn their life and job into a lifestyle brand. So this is what Venn does, and this is the essence of what we do. But I just want to add one more thing so it will be clear. So what exactly does it mean?
Sure.
So when I think about consumer brands, think about Spotify, Netflix, Airbnb, Apple, Amazon. They build a CDP, a customer data platform. A CDP basically is a tool for me to know the customer. Now, if I have one customer, it's very easy to know the customer. But what if I have 150,000 customers? What if I have 1.5 million customers? How can I give the same level of love at scale? I need a platform. I need a CDP. I need a customer data platform that allows me to know every single individual in a way that they feel that they are being treated well. And we have this profile of Hannah. Hannah, as a tenant, it's just a name, apartment number, and how much she pays every month. But Hannah has face. She's willing to share so much information, and she's expecting to get way more from her living experience. So we build this customer data platform that allowing us, we call it Resident 360. The Resident 360 is the first layer that centralizes all this data into one place. On top of that, we create audiences, which means like-minded people like Hannah. And then we started to monetize on this relationship in a way that Hannah's satisfaction increase, the business result increase, and the brand become way more interesting. So this is basically the way.
That's super fascinating. So you're basically reverse engineering the ideal tenant, finding more ideal tenants like that to basically market towards them, and
we don't call them tenants. We call them resident or customers.
Residents. So we do the same as well. Yeah. And basically decreasing the turnover on site, and just overall, you're helping them make friends at the end of the day by, like, in my apartment building, my neighbor is now my friend. And what you're doing is you're helping find more neighbors that they could be friends with and enjoy.
This is part of the brand, but in reality, there is way more than that, because we are part of the apartment search, application, screening, background check, lease signing, move-in process, all your checklist with all the different services. We make everything so simple and easy. Yeah. The day after you move, we will be there for you throughout the entire journey, your living journey, right? For payments, for maintenance, for meeting new friends, for every service, for your neighborhood experiences, all the way to the move out and renewals. And when you streamline this entire resident journey, you are able to find those moments that you can turn into delightful moments.
Could you talk about the user experience on the property management side of things? Because one of the biggest issues of property management today, frankly, everybody, including leasing agents, property managers, there's so many different fragmented software solutions. So what 5 years ago, maybe a leasing agent could get onboarded in 1 day or 2 days, now it takes them 2 weeks because they need to learn how to use 10 different software solutions and use them in conjunction with each other. And I think that's a major issue. Granted, I think, like you said, being in property management, being a property manager, it's very difficult. You're the CEO of that community. And by streamlining it from a tech perspective, I think, and giving more accountability over what's going on site, I think that will help tremendously. But what does that user experience look like from the property managers?
Yeah. So from a property manager perspective, everything becomes way easier. So we free up some time. And we are talking about the small things like running through applications document, running through scanning a package, making sure that or get his package, it sometimes can take, 90 seconds, right? And what if you have 150,000 packages to House 25 in Jersey City, as an example, over 1 month? So we reduced
package rooms today are insane.
Insane. So we reduced those 90 seconds into 9 seconds or 10 seconds. So we take every operational interaction and we turn it into a ticket that became a workflow. Those workflow can go two ways, automated or semi-automated. Automated workflow means that after 10, 16, 25 times, we decide, okay, it's good enough, now it can be automated. If it's semi-automated, because we still want the human touch, we will attract the exact moments where we want the human being to be part of it.
Yeah.
Now, these are the moments that the staff, the on-site team, feel empowered. Because I want them to dedicate most of their time to make the relationship in building way better, to make the brand of the building better. So let's take Related as an example. That I'm sure that you heard what we went all in with them, right? So
and Bozzuto too, congratulations. They're amazing.
Thank you very much. So when you think about companies like Bozzuto, like Related, like Veris, like CIM,
Sure.
these companies became obsessed about their customers, and they believe in the idea that if you build a consumer brand, it's way better for the resident and it's way better for the business. And in order to have this consumer brand identity, you need to come up with the idea of what my brand represents. And then when they come to Venn, we look at the brand as we look at Venn as the infrastructure to make their brand shine. So thinking about Venn like AWS, okay? It's a cloud of services that builds like Lego, that you can literally take those different pieces and put them together in different combination that allows your brand to shine. So in Related, it's called Related Life. In Bozzuto, it's My Bozzuto.
When did you make the determination? Because a lot of brands love to basically have branding, love to have equity in the brand, and you let these property management firms, these owners, white label the Venn product. Was this a decision you made day one, or was this that like as a product evolved, you're like, you know what, let's empower the property management company as much as we can, and we're okay taking a backseat. We're okay that no one knows what Venn is outside the property managers. Is this day one? Is this an idea you had, or did it evolve into that?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. So I'll tell you a small story about it. When we started the company back in 2018, the obsession was to build a consumer brand. We wanted to be the consumer brand. We said we will be able to teach everybody how to manage. Yeah, thank you. But we were so proud, and we were young, and we were hungry, and we said, we're going to build this brand that everybody will know. Venn will be in every building, and every building that has Venn, it means that resident will want to live there. And we were fighting about it. And it was such a big mistake. Just 3.5 or 4 years ago, we started to realize that it's not about us. It's not about us. The Venn brand is not out there.
Yeah.
Venn is the enabler for great consumer products. So the obsession became, I want Related Life to be an amazing brand. I want My Bozzuto to be an exceptional brand. And Related Life and My Bozzuto are totally different brands.
Yeah.
Each brand represents something different. There is culture behind it, there are principles, there are ideas, there are amazing, talented people in those companies. And those people who run those companies, who are amazing people, who have a lot of experience, way better than I have, know exactly how they want to run their business. So who am I to tell them what they need to do? And if they want to build their differentiation, if it's the same experience like the other building, it doesn't make any sense, right? So about 3 to 4 years ago, we started to realize that it's not about white labeling. It's not. I hate the word white label because it makes it so small. It's more than a private label. It's basically it's a brand identity, right?
You're the infrastructure platform for the brand identity.
Exactly. And it's not just about the logo. You know, so many companies out there say, we're going to give you white label, which is a stupid logo in the app, right? Brand is way more than a logo. Brand is what your customers think about you. Brand is what your tone of voice, what you're trying to say. What is your identity? What is your culture? What are your principles? This is brand.
I agree. I mean, people recommend a certain apartment community because of the brand, because of the relationship, because of the offerings that the site teams and the staff, you recruit a certain type of staff based on the brand you have. There's staff that will not work for certain brands in a bunch of markets we own and operate in because they have a bad reputation. They have bad offerings. They have bad tech stacks.
Exactly. And then the beginning of the process of working with a company like Bozzuto is I was fascinating to see leaders like Judy Smith.
Judy's great.
Leaders like Stephanie Williams. Leaders like Mike Schlegel, Kelly Shannon, Shawan Alexander. Jenna runs all their customer experience. They have a point of view. These guys have so much knowledge. They've been in Bozzuto forever. They know the brand upside down and inside out. And they have a point of view. And their point of view is different than other brands. And their point of view about customer success is very specific.
Yeah.
And their point of view about Henry, who is the concierge in building X at the wharf, which is in DC, for them, Henry need to be a hero. And for them, a hero means something very specific. And Henry knows every single resident by their name.
One thing I love about you, and it's similar to me, but historically, our family, myself, we've invested in a bunch of PropTech companies, some good investments, some bad. And I think the biggest common theme for success is a CEO with explicit long-term domain expertise. And I mean, you have so much experience in this space, owning real estate, building property management companies, building hospitality companies, investing in real estate. And I feel like all that is coming together with Venn. I think it'd be helpful for you to just talk about your origin story. So you grew up on a moshav in Israel, and in another life, like I would have grown up in Israel. I love that. Would love to learn a little bit more about your childhood. And were you younger and you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Or is this something that as you got older, you basically kind of fell into it?
Yeah. So I grew up in some sort of a farm, not a real farm, but some farm environment, right? I grew up in a place that everybody knows everybody. It's a very small town, less than 1,000 families. If I did some stupid things as 10 or 15 years old, someone would call my parents and tell them, you need to watch up your kids. So this is the kind of...
I got a lot of those calls too, so happens.
And there was something very magical and special and safe about it.
Sure.
Right? And when I enlisted to the army, for those of you that don't know, in Israel, everybody need to go to the army. And the idea of this continuity of going from one community to another community, and community became like a very fluffy word, but when you really mean it, when you really mean to the word community, there's something very powerful about it, right? And when you move from the way you grew up in a moshav, and everybody knows everybody, and all my best friends to date are the people who went to the kindergarten with me, right? Doesn't matter that I live in New York today, they are the first phone call when I need something.
Do most people go back to the moshav, or do a lot of people move out?
Some go back to the moshav. I decided to go to Tel Aviv after, but I spent 10 years in the army. And in the army, I had another community, right? It became my team. And it was a team that it's like 24 people that they screen out of 10,000 people a year. And out of the 24 people, you're left with 12 people by the end of the basic training of almost 2 years. And this become your second family, right? So from one community in a moshav to another community in the army. And then after 10 years, I was 27 and I was discharged. And then there is a moment when you are starting to look for your identity. Okay, what do I want to do when I grew up, right? So everybody want to make some money after the army. And you want to make a living. Yeah. You want to build your life. You want to go to college. You want to... And for me, there was something very important about creating this continuity of building my community for the rest of my life. This is how we came up with the idea of moving to the Shapira neighborhood. It was a neglected neighborhood in the South District of Tel Aviv. We were very visionary. We went down the street of Shapira and said, let's just convince, 100 people to come and live with us here. It was insane. My mother asked, do you want to live here? Are you sure? And I said yes, and 3 months afterwards, my co-founder and I, we moved there. We took a building, we renovated the building, we brought a bunch of people, and we started to sell them with the idea of living together. 18 months afterwards, we bought 30% of this neighborhood. No one ever done something like that in Tel Aviv. So we bought 30% of the neighborhood.
Is that where you live today, in Tel Aviv?
No, so I moved to New York. So I live in New York.
Sure.
And the idea was that how can you create an ecosystem that everybody knows everybody? People walk down the street, they see familiar faces. You go to the coffee shop, the barista know you by your name. You go to the co-working space, there are 10 other people who knows what you do and you can brainstorm with them. You go to the kindergarten, the other parents know you by your name. How do you create these magical moments that surprisingly allow us to quadruple the price per foot in less than 5 years? So when we connected the dots back in 2019, and 18, we said there is something very magical here. On the one hand, we improve people's life. On the other hand, we build an amazing business.
Yeah.
So how can we productize every single moment that we created here? And this is how Venn was born.
So prior to Venn, you were at Selena, and prior to Selena, you invested and acquired real estate in Latin America. Would love to learn a little bit more about your time acquiring real estate in Latin America. How did that lead you to Selena? And then ultimately, what experience did you learn along the way that really led you to buying and building a community in Tel Aviv and ultimately into Venn today?
Yeah.
So you graduated, you got discharged from the Army. Usually in Israel, when people get discharged from the Army, they tend to travel. They spend time traveling the world. And
Right. With a backpack,
Yeah.
growing their hairs. And by the way,
I mean, the Latin,
getting
as
more
someone
friends.
that's been to a bunch of Latin American Chabads, unbelievable times.
Unbelievable, right? It's the fun thing ever. Right? You go for 1 year until you have no more money to
time to
spend,
go
and
home.
it's time to go home and to start your life. So
And you went to Latin America.
I went to Latin America. I went to a month because I was already late in the game, right? I was almost 27. All my friends was after universities, having their first job, and I was just discharged after 10 years. And I said, I'll do a quick trip. I went to India for 3 months, and from India I went to Latin America, and I loved it there. I met a friend from a unit, and his partner from a parallel unit. And they said, let's just do something together. There was something very nice about it. And we started to buy real estate. We raised capital in Tel Aviv, in Israel, and we brought this capital. We bought buildings, and we created a pretty big, almost massive real estate play in
In what
Casco
country?
Viejo, which is the old city of Panama City.
Got it.
And then I started to realize what they already knew, which is Panama is the central station of Latin America. So if you are a backpacker, there is a very high likelihood that you go through Panama to your trip or go back home through Panama. And when you speak to those travelers, those digital nomads, those backpackers, some of them Israelis, Australians, American, like people from all around the world, there is something in common. A lot of them want to travel for a very long time. They said, we travel the world is my office, I just need a laptop and I'm good. And they're willing to stay in
I love that quote, the world is my office.
the world is my office,
Yeah.
right? And I just need a laptop. And I'm willing to sleep in a bunk bed or in a very small room. I just want to travel, right? But if you have a co-working space around, this is great. If you have common kitchen, this is great. So it goes back to all the community thing, right? So people just want to hang up with other people. And sometimes you can find business people who are 40 years old. And sometimes you can find someone who's 18 who just discharged from the army. And sometimes it's someone who just graduate college. So what we kept hearing again and again is that these guys are willing to spend a little bit more to get a little bit more from their living or accommodation experience. And to be frank, this is Selena.
Yeah. So I've stayed in a bunch of Selenas, and I love Selenas. And staying at Selena, they care. Like you go to a hotel, a lower cost hotel, you go to a hostel, and then you go to Selena. Just like the extra level of love in a Selena. And then frankly, the community, you go to Selena for the community, for just one, it's nicer quality than a typical hotel, but also you know the type of people that are going to be at that community.
So the first 2 years, it was 2015, 2016. This
Yeah.
was the beginning of Selena. Not a lot of people know it, but it called a social club in the beginning, which was a very bad name.
That was the name. The name was
Yes,
Social Club.
Social Club.
I'm so upset I aged out of Selena. So now I'm 28. I think I was staying in Selena's from 18 to 26. It went from staying the entire time to maybe we go for the first 2 days, then we go to hotel or Airbnb, and now I think we're a little too old for it. But I mean, it's an
So
awesome
it started
name.
as the name was Social Club, and the two guys who co-founded it, Rafi and Daniel, were very good friends of mine back then, and I said, why don't you? Can I just join you for the ride? And they were open to that. And at the beginning, it was just one location. It was very sexy, and it was it was fun, right? Who knows that it will end up with 125 locations in more than 20 countries all around the world. But the beginning was so much fun, and it ticked all the boxes of fun, community, building a business. It was a very good business as well because it was in places that was not cheap. The occupancy rate was more than 70, 80%, and the business just made sense. 2 years afterwards, when I came across the Shapira neighborhood, there was something about Shapira neighborhood that ticked all the boxes for all the things that I want to do in my life. This is what led me to leave Selena and to be focused only on the creation of Venn. Venn in the beginning called TL Village, by the way, which is a very bad name, very, very bad name. So I keep holding my shares in Selena, and the same with my co-founder also. We both had shares with Selena, and they became investors at Venn. So we basically learned a lot from each other. And from a business perspective, we had a front row to look at how they build the business, and I think that we learned a lot from their mistakes as well. Because from a business standpoint, I think that Selena made so much sense, but the way the business was operated throughout.
From a leasehold perspective, or from just a business, a brand?
First of all, Corona, of 3 years in Corona, took
Sure.
occupancy down dramatically. I was not involved back then in Selena at all. But there was a lot to learn. And we also changed our business model back in 2022 when we moved to 100% being a SaaS company. So this was very, very interesting to learn from that and to take all those implications into Venn. And I think that this is what led us eventually to go and say, we don't need to own the brand. We don't need, Venn is not the story is not about Venn, it's about our customers. We need to be a vertically SaaS integrated platform that allows owners and operators to build their own brand. We need to be the AWS with cloud of services that serves the multifamily industry. And this change in 2022, that was a big bet, was the best thing that ever happened to Venn. And I believe that if you as an entrepreneur or myself, if we believe in something, we need to be all in. I have no time to do anything other than Venn. You have no time to do anything other than cosign. If you're really serious about it, right? If you really believe in your business, you need to go all in. And in 2019, 2020, we just learned that it's either we do it 120%.
We don't do it at all. Don't bother.
Yes.
So Jensen from the video, he did an interview at Deal Book Summit, and they're like, how often do you work? He's like 110% of the time.
Yeah.
When I'm not working, I'm thinking about work. I'm always working. And I mean, it's a beautiful disease being an entrepreneur. It's great, but I mean, it's always, unless you need to be all in. You need to have that disease. You need to be fully committed to the cause and always be thinking about it. And I'm curious, what are some of like the pitfalls of being an entrepreneur?
Be more specific when you say pitfall. Like, it's a very broad.
Being an entrepreneur is a very glamorous thing. You get to build a company. You hopefully get to realize whatever that company grows into. But I mean, there's a lot of not so fun things about being an entrepreneur. I've learned to love it. So even though I say it's not fun, you need to love everything. Yeah. And like that's how you enjoy what you're building. But I mean, tell me about some kind of pitfalls or experiences where you just had to eat glass and how you overcame that mountain and continued to build.
Yeah, so as Elon Musk said one day, that being an entrepreneur, being the CEO of a startup is like eating glass, right? Yeah. Because you are the screen that everything goes through you, and at the end of the day, every day you need to eat the glass. So even though there are 20 things to be proud of every day, there are 5, 6, 7 things that need to be taken care of, and all those 7, 5, 9 things that need to be taken care of are going to you as the entrepreneur, as the CEO. So look, at the end of the day, it's a dog life. Literally. Yeah. Okay? You always bother by something. There is always someone that is not pleased. There is always an employee that you really like that may be thinking about starting their own company. There is always a customer that you really want that it's not the right timing. There is always like, let's take this this fundraising.
Yeah.
For 6 months, I've been dealing with it. It takes time. It takes a lot of grit, right? To go to another meeting and another meeting. Everybody thinks that it's so glamorous, right? Yeah, you raise $52 million. It feels like a success, overnight success that took you 8 years, right? And I think that I remember in the beginning of of our journey, there was a guy who is is the top. He's the CEO of a private equity called FIMI in Israel, which is the best private equity in Israel. And he also went to the same unit that I did. And someone from the unit introduced us, and he said, and he didn't respond. And I tried again, he didn't respond. I tried again, he didn't respond. And then at some point he said, I'm so sorry. I can meet you in 4 months. And I said, okay. Put it on the calendar. And after 4 months, I showed up. And he said, the only reason I met you is because you were so persistent. And even after 4 months, you showed up. And here you are. 30 minutes. He gave me 30 minutes. He said, after 10 minutes, I'm not investing in those kind of companies. It's not my specialty. It's not my expertise. And I'm not going to invest. You seems to be very charismatic, but I don't understand what you do. And I didn't have the chance to even articulate what I do because I'm not sure that I really understand like how it all works. And he said, I want to give you one tip. Just one. I'm sure that he doesn't even remember he said it, okay? And he said, survive. Just survive. If you survive, if you survive and you're obsessed about what you do, you will be successful. And it's going to take time.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, you know who Jesse Itzer is? Jesse Itzer? He's a motivational, he's a successful entrepreneur. He part owner of the Hawks. His wife is Sarah Blakely, who founded Spanx. He founded Marquis Jets, Zika Water, a bunch of other companies. He had an event last night in New York City, and he said something that really kind of stuck with me. He said, I've never won, but I've never lost. I have no DNFs. You don't need a win. As long as you continue and survive, you will win. As long as you don't have a DNF, which is a do not finish, and you continue, there will be success on the other side. A lot of people run into obstacles. They run into challenges. They are close to running out of money. They run out of money. But as long as you keep going and you survive, you will win. It might not be a year from now. It might not be 5 years from now, but you will win, and there will be a rainbow on the other side, or you will make it to the other side. And it doesn't have to be a win. You just
You need to be consistent. Over time, you win.
So one of the most impressive things about you and about Venn is you've been able to recruit some of the most amazing talent from the industry. Like it is insanely impressive. Some from marketing to sales to engineering, just people on your team that are rock stars at some of the other great companies in the space. You've been able to recruit them. One, how have you been able to do it? And as you scale the Venn team, what do you look for?
This is an amazing question. I really believe that you are the sum of the people you are surrounded by. And if I look at the principles of the company,
Sure,
which we never wrote those principles. You know, a company has a culture because it has its own culture. It's happened like spontaneously. And the culture is who are the people who run the company. You have a belief as a human, as a leader, and your belief reflect in the company. Now, if you're obsessed and you're serious about what you do and you have consistency, so you attract the right people who allows you to be who you want to be. And it's like a team in the unit that I went to. There is a chapter about it that after a year and a half, everybody looks similar. Even though you don't look alike, you look similar somehow. And there is something about it at Venn. When you get into the office in Tel Aviv or the office here in Tribeca, you can notice similarities. The number one similarity is authenticity and grit. You will find it in every single fucking person in the company. Authenticity and grit. Now, what is authenticity? Authentic people are the people that people want to hang out with. I want to hang with people who are authentic. I'm not necessarily need to agree with what they say, but I feel that they sell me something real. Sell, quote unquote, sell. There is something real about the conversation. I don't feel that I'm being bullshit. And there is something very...
And they're not afraid to speak their mind.
They're not afraid to speak their mind. You know that this is very Israeli, right? Sometimes it's hard because most of my Israeli team members, they don't give a fuck about me, right? They just tell me. They just go all in. They don't care, right? Which creates something very powerful from a culture perspective.
It's magical. And also just from an idea perspective, our team, it's not a whole lot of Israelis, but we something we say to everyone that joins, there's no such thing as a bad idea. Be authentic, be yourself. And share. And a lot of ideas that people come up with, they're bad. They're not great ideas. We don't implement them, but you need people to speak their mind, say whatever comes to their mind, because from that, magical things happen.
Right. So you said salespeople. We don't have salespeople in the company. There is not such a title in Venn. Look, there are no salespeople. The people who sell in the company are everyone. And we said in Venn, in this company, you either sell something or build something. And you better do both. Okay? Now, now, what does it mean selling? Okay? Some people feel annoyed by the word sales. Because they envision a sleazy salesperson that is not authentic, who doesn't believe in what they sell.
Yeah.
And this is the image. But when you build something and you put so much heart and soul and excitement into something, you're excited about it. So when you sit with everybody, you just want to tell the story about what you build, why you're excited about it. This is true sales, right? And if you talk to every single person in the company, you will find people who sell all day long. They are not selling, they sell, right? They are just speak with passion.
They're so passionate about Venn. I've probably met 10 people from the Venn team, from just from marketing to past conferences. And I mean, they're genuinely, deeply, extremely passionate about what you guys are doing and how you guys are changing the industry. We have a few minutes left. Would love your thoughts on the state of the real estate market today. And what do you think it looks like 10 years from now? And I think Venn is on the forefront of the industry shift, but how do you view the industry changing 10 years from now? What does it look like?
Yeah.
Is there still, does a leasing agent still have 10 different software solutions? Or is Venn still working in conjunction with PMSs? What is that? What does the industry shift look like?
So I'm going to say something that will sound a bit controversial, and I'm not saying that I'm right. This is my intuition. This is my point of view.
We love controversial takes.
Yeah. So I think that 80% of the technology out there today, a lot of those point solutions are sales-led companies who are not delivering real product.
I agree.
Okay? And I think those companies will die.
I agree.
Okay? And then we are talking about the 20%.
Let me add with little domain expertise.
Little domain expertise, salespeople who are not authentic, who had no grit, and they're just trying to go and sell and get their quota and then to move to the next company, the next company, the next company, the next company. I'm sick of this.
I agree.
Okay? I think that it's taking the industry down. And then you have the 20%.
You're getting me amped up right now. I agree.
And then you have the 20%. Within this 20%, you have vertically integrated platform and you have point solutions, right? I think that point solution has reason to exist if they are extremely great, okay? And then you have platforms.
And by great, you mean something proprietary about it that adds value.
It adds value and a domain expertise
Sure.
that someone is obsessed Obsessed, like literally obsessed to solve something very specific. Okay? And there are great examples in the world for those specific niche solutions. Okay? So I give a lot of credit for a few companies who solve something extremely specific. But it's also always founders with grit, with belief, with authenticity, who manage to bring like the great people from other industries, willing to have mistakes, willing to admit that they are here for the long term. They are not just trying to sell their company to one of the no names that you know which companies I'm talking about. So, and by the way, I have no criticism about it. Like, you want to make money, great, but let's be honest about it. Okay? We all want to make money. By the way, I'm not trying to say that I'm out of this
Definitely, yeah.
game, but I also want to add value. Okay, so those point solutions who are for real, I'm all for it. And then you have platforms, and I think that right now there are 3 to 5 platforms in the industry that are the next generation platforms, right? In my point of view, those 4 or 5 companies are going to run for the long term. And they are the next cohort of end-to-end platforms in the industry. It will take 5 to 15 years. And I see a few founders that some of them compete with us, and I have so much admiration for them. I believe you can imagine who am I talking about. But there are a few founders
and they push you to go harder.
They push me to go harder.
They have great ideas. You have great ideas.
Exactly.
It ultimately
and
brings everyone up.
Exactly. It feels that they are making me better.
Yeah.
So it's annoying. Like, it's really annoying. And at the same time, I have so much respect.
In a healthy way, of course.
You know what I mean? So I look at them, I said, it's really annoying. Yeah. But it pushes the industry.
Pushes everybody, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay? As opposed to those really, like, nonsense. Like, people sell container of an app that has nothing behind it. They tell a story which is like crazy. So I think that those point solutions, those platforms are going to change the industry because you have hungry, young entrepreneurs who are willing to go all in. And I think it's going to take the industry to the next level. And I think we're going to see a revolution of like Google Apple battle, but I think we're going to see 4 to 5 players that, by the way, that collaborate also with each other, but compete with each other. You know, Google and Apple, they collaborate as well. Of course. But they compete with each other and make them, they bring more and more value to the world. So I think that if you need to ask me 5 years from now, we will be here. Hopefully you will have like your own studio back then. I think that we will see those 4 or 5 strong platforms out there. I think that we will see a few point solution of the great point solution are being consolidated into those platforms. And I think that it will live and die on culture, right? Because I can see myself work with some founders, and there are other founders who are amazing, but I just don't see us working together because we come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different point of views. And I think that if I would have thought probably 4 or 5 years ago that the industry is huge, so it's not one win. There is no winner takes it all situation. I think there are going to be 5, 6 winners takes it all situation, with a few point solutions that are going to build multi-billion-dollar companies that are going to integrate to those platforms. Lastly, I will say that on top of everything, the reason that it's going to happen. This is the why. Okay, why do I believe that this is what's going to happen? Is that I speak to property managers and on-site team members all day long. These are the people who I'm excited to talk with the most, more than any other person in the world, okay? Because they are the users who changed the life of millions of people all around the world. And I really obsessed and curious, how can we take their life and make their life better? And I think that there is a notion and there is an understanding. The coin was dropped. Okay, I'm not sure that this is the right term, but that this aha moment happened in the past year. We are shifting from traditional property management companies to lifestyle brands. Happened. It already happened. I believe that Venn has the opportunity to lead this game, and I think that a lot of people are excited about building this consumer product in multifamily, and therefore they understand that they need to have a consolidating platform that runs the entire resident journey and the operator journey from months before they move in until months after they leave.
100%. I would say over the past year, I've been able to go to a bunch of conferences, have a ton of conversations, and that's pretty much the common takeaway is enough of these point solutions. The way the industry is changing is really to a platform where property managers and site teams have one platform that control everything. Yeah. So, I mean, we're focusing heavily on the integrations, and that's the future of the industry, I believe. Or I'm a huge fan of you. Mm-hmm. I've had the opportunity to speak with a bunch of property management companies that utilize Venn. They love Venn. Everyone I know that uses Venn is huge fans of you, huge fans of Venn and the rest of your team. Thank you for coming on today. I'm rooting for you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you very much, man.